I'm buffering. Hello, beautiful people. that could be funny, if I was just. But I'll do it while I wait for you guys to join. It's probably not funny. Do you ever do that where, like, you think things are funny in your head, but then you say them and they're not? I apparently do that all the time. So, just if you're one of those people that, and you think you're funny and in your head you're funny and then you say it and no one laughs, you're not alone. Okay. So there you go. Just want you to know that you're in good company on this Misfits Guide to Living, because we have titled it A Misfits Guide to Living. What is that? Well, you, if you're watching this, and you, if you've also kind of spent your life kind of being the round peg trying to fit in the square hole, or the square peg trying to fit in the round hole, looking around going, where am I? Who put me here? What is this planet? And where's all the happy people? If that's you, you are definitely in the right place for this Misfits adventure. For me, as a kid, I was just so sensitive to everything. The world around me was just like, I felt like what other people were experiencing, I was experiencing times a billion. And so I was always kind of making everything so relevant and making everything so real and making everything basically on my shoulders and things that I had to deal with. And the first 30 years of my life before I found these tools of access consciousness, I really thought that there was just something terribly wrong with me. I remember this day when I was 6 years old. I was in grade 2 at school, and I cried every day and had no idea why. And I was sitting under this tree where I like to sit all on my own, and I was just crying. And I was thinking to myself, I don't remember a day where I haven't cried. And it was so bizarre to me to, like, look around in the world and have such an awareness of what would be going on for people, but also have such confusion with that didn't seem to be the way that people were showing up, and have such awareness of what could be possible in the world that we could create and live in. And yet look around me and none of that seemed to be showing up. One of the really cool tools that has come out recently, we've kind of talked about it forever, but you'll notice if you've done any access that things will come up, and then they'll come up a little different, and then they'll come up a little different, and then they'll come up and they'll kind of hit the spot, and you're like, oh shit, that makes total sense with my life and with what's been going on. Is this tool on cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is basically where you have two disparate points of view and you try to make both of them work together. So if you have something in your life that you're making relevant while knowing it's not really relevant to you, and you're trying to have the non-relevance of it while having the relevance together, you have no choice, and it kind of keeps you stuck with that. So I want to give you guys some tools today on maybe seeing what is actually relevant to you, but also I just lost my train of thought. That was wonderful. Acknowledging the misfit that you are. It was interesting. Before, we've been doing, I think this is maybe the 6th or 7th week that we've been doing these lives, and I forgot to really address the title, the topic of it, which is Misfits Guide to Living. So that is really my target here, is to give you some tools to go, you know what, I'm different, and that doesn't make me wrong. I'm different, and what capacities do I have that I've never acknowledged? I'm different, and how much fun can I have being the difference that I am? Also, how much more can you value your difference and see what's truly relevant to you? So this question of what did we call this? What are you making relevant? Okay, so the question you want to, thank you Instagram for having it flash across the top there. Oh my goodness, just makes my life so much easier. Oh, and Also, if you would like Spanish translation, Espanol, we have the link here that you can listen in Spanish. We also have Portuguese translation today. And if enough of you request different translations, we will be working on getting you that too, because I have a lot of resources. I think I have like 12 different language Telegram chats that you can get into, which we translate content into, and lots of cool different stuff. So it's amazing. Also, I would like to ask for your help in spreading the word that these are on every week, every Thursday, same time. Tell your friends, tell anyone that you're like, oh my goodness, you're a misfit too. I'm going to invite you to this because we can be misfits together. We're amazing. Okay, good. We got that out of the way. Again, you don't want to be, you don't want to see what's going on up here today. It's a whole thing. So many things to talk to you guys about today. I just did Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, just finished yesterday a 3-part telecall called Poverty Consciousness. And I waited until the last 30 minutes to get on this telecall because I was like, oh my God, I'm doing poverty. You ever do that? Do you ever make money really relevant and significant and then wonder why none shows up because you're not actually having the joy and creating a life which would allow it to show up? We'll get to that part. But anyway, so I jumped on this call and I'm so grateful I did. It was the call I didn't even know I needed until I started hearing it, because basically you hear the word poverty, right? And you would go straight to, yeah, I don't have enough money and I'm struggling with money. And, and you would identify that word with money. Well, what I hadn't identified it with was being. And the thing that I was really grateful for that came as an awareness for that call, from that call, is anytime that you're in judgment of you, you're doing poverty of being and poverty of possibilities. Anytime you're trying to be right, anytime that you're trying to find a result, because any of that stuff eliminates what you can be receiving from the universe. And just look at that with your financial flows. But so I was so grateful to, a lot of the calls were about, okay, where are you? Where are you not valuing you? So here we go. The question, really great question you want to have for your toolbox is, oh, look at that, thumbs up. Oh my goodness, I even had it down there and it was still, it's ADD. Just listen to what I say, not what I do. Okay, there you go. The question is this truly relevant to me? Now, I created a list a few years ago. You guys have all heard me talk about my journey with sobriety and my struggle with addiction. And the last few years for me, another side note, we just released a new podcast, What's the Value of Addiction? We're going to get that to you guys also. But it has been such a valuable journey for me in the last few years in finding out what is actually relevant to me. And one of the demands I made of myself a few years ago, and I'd made this demand before, but it wasn't really a demand. It was more of an expectation that the universe would provide it for me. Do you guys do that too? Where it's like, you have an awareness of what could be, but rather than make the choices to create it, it's kind of like, oh, let me wait until it shows up. Well, what if today's the day that you could choose and make the choices that begin to create the future and the life and the world that you truly desire? Everything that is, everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive it, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 100, shorts, boys, POVADs, creations, bases, and beyonds. And so one of the things I did a few years ago was I wrote down a list of everything that I was making relevant. So everything that I decided was relevant in my life, and to the best of my ability, got really brutally honest with myself. And then I wrote a list next to it with what's actually relevant to me. So on the list of what I decided was relevant, things like money, how I was liked by people and seen by people, just different different judgments and things that I'd made real about my life, struggles and different things. And then when I started looking at, okay, what's truly relevant to me? Is money truly relevant to me? And I was like, no, but what is? And I was like, well, kindness with me with regards to it is liking who I am rather than worrying about what other people think about me is being kind to others and having integrity with myself and showing up in the world as something that's true for me is relevant to me. And I bring this up, how I've looked at it, to kind of give you a little bit of a reference of how this works, because how much of what you're making relevant creates the foundation that you create your life from that's not truly relevant for you. What would it be like if you looked at it and went, okay, so what is relevant? So is waking up in the morning relevant to you? I mean, yeah, that better be relevant to you. Is waking up in the morning and liking yourself? Let's get the waking up part out of the way first. Is waking up in the morning and liking yourself relevant to you? If that's a yes, then acknowledge that. Is liking who you are, regardless of how others see you, relevant to you? If that's a yes, acknowledge it. Is being true to yourself to the best of your ability and following what's true for you to the best of your ability relevant to you? Again, acknowledging it, but also is having acknowledging that you actually have value. Because that's a big one, because we would look at something like that, and I know I've done this a lot throughout my life, and you would look to, okay, how many conclusions can I come to about that, of where do I have value and what makes me valuable, rather than you as you as you and the being that you are have value. And you're a valuable product, whether you can see that or not now. What would it be like if you went, okay, I'm making that relevant in my life? Because notice with the things that you make relevant that aren't money, how people see you, the way you're showing up in the world, how many followers you have on social media, blah, blah, all of that. You could add in all of the things that come up for you there, but notice how significant those things become. And when you make something significant, you make it real and true, rather than actually being question of what's true for me with regards to this. So when I wrote that list, I went, okay, I've been putting my attention in the wrong places. One of the things that's helpful as an awareness with this is anything that you focus on grows. Anything that you feed with your energy grows. So if you're feeding, the wrongness of you and how things aren't working in your life and what's not there and what should be there and what shouldn't be there and what's wrong and what's not right and all of those things, that's the energy that you're using to create your life. What if from a different perspective, what if even just for today that you could start acknowledging, what do you have, not what don't you have? What's great about you? And this is an interesting one for you misfits to kind of look at, because the vulnerability with yourself. Okay, let me bring up. We talk about something called intimacy with yourself. In order to have intimacy with anyone or anything else, you have to be willing to have it with you. The 5 elements of that are honor, trust, vulnerability, gratitude, and allowance. So if we look at vulnerability, for me in growing up, I grew up with a father that was, you need to, be tough, and you don't cry, and, you need to play football, and you need to fight, and you need to, and I was just like, that was the antithesis of me. I was like, can I just go and follow the ants around? And can I go and whistle with the birds? And can I go and lay in the grass? And can I look at the stars? And can I imagine everything that must be possible? And can I just be like that? And so vulnerability was always seen as a weakness. So for me, it was, I learned at a young age to hide anything from the world that could appear weak. Any of you done that? Everything that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. And so, I was, it was interesting with me. This has been such a journey, having vulnerability with myself. And maybe we'll do one of the lives kind of dedicated to this, because it's a bit of a big one. But I always kind of thought getting to what was true for me was exposing all of the judgments and shit that I had to myself, to me. And that's a part of it. Like, having vulnerability with yourself is about looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly with no judgment. But have you ever noticed that it's easier to really kind of be vulnerable with the things that you don't like about yourself, rather than actually being vulnerable also with the things that are beautiful and different and phenomenal and wonderful and just you, about you? So what would it be like if that was also something that was more relevant in your life? And we have this interesting point of view, this interesting concept that if you, have any of you ever, did you ever get caught as a kid? Like, you'd be looking in the mirror and you'd be like, oh my goodness, I look so good today. And, and just admiring yourself or adoring yourself, or, pulling funny faces or doing any of that. And it was like, oh my God, you love yourself. And you shouldn't do that because you love yourself too much. Well, what if your new target was to love you too much? To love you too much, to just that energy. So everything that doesn't allow that, and everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive what that is for you, will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Again, if you guys want more info on that clearing statement and how that works, check out theclearingstatement.com. It is my magical wand, because any of this stuff that comes up, anything that doesn't make you light is not true for you. Okay, what makes you light is what's true for you. What doesn't is what's not true for you. But how many of you also make the lies that you tell yourself and the lies that you buy relevant? You cannot change a lie. Okay, you cannot change something that's not true into something that is true. And this is where, for a lot of us, we get stuck. One of the things that will stick you dynamically is when there's a truth with a lie attached, when part of something is what's true and part of something is what isn't true, and you're putting, and your attention gets stuck on it. Great question to ask is, what's the lie here, spoken or unspoken? And then if you are willing to have the awareness and acknowledge the lie, oh, that part's a lie. I don't have to put my attention on that anymore. I can just acknowledge that it's not actually true for me. So how much of what you're making real, true, relevant, and significant about you, about your life, about your living, and about your future is not actually true for you? Everything that is, everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive it, and also recognize you have a different choice, will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. I also want to mention, sinners, we're on a bit of a journey with these weekly lives. I ain't planning on stopping anytime soon. So if you've got things that pop up as questions, or you kind of like, oh man, how am I going to change this part? Or you just like some contribution, please get in touch with us. Put a comment in here, or, put a comment somewhere. If you join my Telegram chat, which, we do our best to share as much as possible in there. You can put questions in there also, because I would really like these lives to be a contribution to you guys. I would really like them to be a contribution, but also an acknowledgement of it's you being a misfit, you being the difference that you are, and embracing that is, what if that's what this world truly requires? And what if you didn't have to figure out how or what that is anymore in order to get there? How many of you have made relevant determining the future, or determining what a choice is going to create before you choose it? Determining or trying to predict how tomorrow is going to show up so that you can figure out what to choose today. What if what was more relevant to you was being present in each and every moment? Okay, beautiful people. Well, there you go. That is this week's live. And write that list, see if that contributes something to you. Another great tool, which I avoided doing for, I don't know, maybe 10 years. So you'll probably avoid this for 10 years also, and it's okay, is write yourself a eulogy. The eulogy is basically what people say about you, at your funeral. But the target with this is to get a sense of what's actually true for you and the life that you would like to live. Like I said, I avoided this. And when I finally did it, it started off kind of dark. And I was like, what am I doing? And I kept going with this. And I started writing the me that I would like to be remembered as. The target for this, and the target that I got from it, was the me that I would like to be, spoken about, is the me that I would like to be for me. So what you would you like to be for you, that you can now acknowledge and begin to create? Everything that doesn't allow it, poc and pod, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. How do I recognize my lies to myself to maintain my addiction to self-sabotage? Well, okay, we got things popping up here. I like it. This is good. Well, first of all, who did you learn that from? I'll give you an example with this. I grew up around a lot of people that did a lot of anger, a lot of let me appear to be less than so that other people create my life for me, a lot of lies, a lot of just twisted energies. And so for me, I had so sensitized to all of these different things and decided that they were me. What I realized was pretty much all of what I thought was real and true for me wasn't. And I had to start finding out through question and choice what was actually true for me, knowing that with this tool of what's true for me will always make me lighter, and I can trust that. What's not true for me is going to make me heavier or stick me in some way. So with something like this, what if you made it relevant to you to stop that self-sabotage, stop judging you, stop going to that position of, I must be less than. And I get that it can sound almost dismissive in saying that, of stop it, but you have to begin to recognize that it's a choice that we make. Judging ourselves is a choice that we make. Trying to make lies real and true for us is a choice that we make. Resisting and reacting to others or being triggered and going to anger or upset is a choice that we make. And when you can get that part, you can begin to empower yourself into knowing that, wait a minute, I'm not the effect of the world around me. I'm choosing to be the effect of the world around me. What would empowerment be? Choosing something different. So, hopefully that contributes something. What can I be and do today that I've never been willing to be and do before? And what's it going to take for me to change this? Well, what can I be and do to change this? And just ask that question and see the one of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself is not avoiding anything. And it can be really uncomfortable when you've got something that you've been avoiding your whole life. Like, you do self-sabotage. So you kind of want to stay away from that energy. And you're just like, well, I don't want to look at anything about me anymore, because every time I do, I seem to judge myself. And I'm kind of tired of judging myself. So let me avoid everything that's judgeable about me to try and avoid the judgments that I have, rather than going, you know what, I have a lot of judgment of myself. I'm really degrading myself or self-sabotaging myself in this area. I'm not going to try and desperately try to change it anymore, or see the wrongness of it, or come to 8,000 conclusions about how I should change it. I'm just going to be with it and allow that energy to come up. And from that space, okay, so there it is. I feel like a pile of shit again. What can I be and do to change this? Who does it belong to? What's a different choice? What would kindness for me be with this? What would allowance for me be with this? And kind of, well, another question, how much are you making that relevant to you and it actually isn't? So what if you could take your attention off what you've decided it is and start putting your attention more on the question, asking for the possibility of what's beyond it? Okay. And I could talk about that forever too. So hopefully that was a contribution. I want to thank you all for being here with me. I am very grateful. And what else is possible you have never considered? Oh, 8,000 other things. We have the Global Foundation class coming up with Access Consciousness with the founder and co-creator of Access, Mr. Gary Douglas, and Dr. Dane here. This is a phenomenal class. If you have done an Access Bars class or can get yourself to one, check it out. It's really going to be an epic thing. And also my new podcast. I would love any contribution in sharing that to the world. Also, I'm actually really proud of it. We launched it the other day when I had 3 years of sobriety on Saturday. I think it was Saturday. And I was facilitating a 3-day body class. And for the first hour and a half of class, people asked me questions about, my journey and how I'd gotten through different things. And I sat there and just cried for a lot of the morning with just, I guess I would call it pride in myself and what I would love to be in the world and contribute to all of you guys is when you get through something, like let's say you've been self-sabotaging and judging the shit out of yourself and you get to something different, please have pride in that. Please see the courage and the gift that is, that this is something that you no longer make real and true in the world based on your willingness to change it and choose something different. So please keep going. And I'm grateful for you. Hopefully you are grateful for you too. And I will see you next week on A Misfits Guide to Living.